What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Molly Rulin reporting live from ShePodcasts live in Atlanta. I am representing Heartcast Media and Podcast Outfitters, and I am sitting here with Meredith of Ossa. So please say hello. Tell us what Ossa is all about.
Hello, I'm Meredith Reed. I'm the editor-in-chief at Ossa.
Excellent.
And we are a women's podcast network. And our main goal is to help women make money off of their podcasts.
That's amazing. So important. I know the path to sustainability, has to include monetization, right? Because it's so much work and so much time and equipment, and even if you have all the equipment paid for, there's still an investment of time, and our time isn't free. Especially as women, we're very busy. We're wearing multiple hats and playing multiple roles, and so all of that really matters. So I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. It sounds like you have a really big network. It sounds like it's very successful. So I gotta ask, what led you to that? What lit the fire for you to wanna do this?
So we actually launched a different brand years ago. Our editor-in-chief, I'm the editor-in-chief. I'm running on very little sleep. Yeah. I'm sorry. These conferences, it's like, oh my God, what's happening?
Exactly.
Our founder, Marla, who's walking past right now, you can't see her. She actually launched this as a women's empowerment network called Like a Boss Girls. And that was very successful. It's been around several years with a following of about 1.2 million on Facebook.
It's amazing.
But a couple of years ago, we noticed that there just wasn't as much action in, blogging. Just like writing a blog used to be a really big thing. And now with social media and the rise of podcasting, there are other ways that people are consuming content.
Totally.
So we wanted to be strategic about the way that we were producing our content and started looking into podcasting. Marla, our founder, she launched a podcast, and as she likes to say, she got the podcasting bug.
Right.
And from there, we just started thinking about what if we built this as a women's podcast network and kept, ultimately our goal is the same. We want to help women be successful. We want to help women rise. But now we're doing it with the vehicle of podcasting.
That's amazing. It's so important and so cool, especially since podcasting seems to be a very white male space, and there's not a lot of room.
Like most spaces. In
there, yeah. I shouldn't say there's not a lot of room, but it's just missing something. And so it's exciting to see that 40% of new podcasters are women, and just giving women a voice, giving marginalized communities a voice. That's the whole point. That's the magic of podcasting is, a lot of people talk about the barrier for entry being the equipment, or access to the microphones or whatever, but I think that's completely wrong. I think the barrier for entry was the distribution. Never before in our time could you create content and then distribute it to 17 networks for free, right? If you're savvy enough, you can get everyone to share your podcast on the same day at the same time and make a huge impact and have huge visibility at zero cost. And
Right.
That's the barrier for entry. You can never self-produce content and be on major platforms before.
Right.
And so it's so important that now that we have this access, that we do a good job of it, and the content is good and the audio is good, and there's intention and a plan behind it. Because if you don't have a plan, what are you really doing? So I definitely appreciate that you're working for women to help them figure all that out.
Right, exactly. And I think, when social media came out, most people just looked at it as recreational.
Right.
And then over time, we started seeing people become professional Instagrammers.
Right.
And really, that became a really lucrative industry. Obviously, it takes a ton of work. A lot of times people think that it just looks really glamorous and easy,
Right.
and it's definitely not. It's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I think now we're seeing with podcasting, especially women, it seems, tend to get into it as more of a passion project, which is beautiful. That's wonderful. And if you want a podcast just out of passion and because you care about something and you want to have a voice, that's incredible. And we
Right.
certainly wouldn't say that everyone needs to monetize their podcast.
Right.
But what we want to do is make sure that women realize, and this is our slogan, your voice has value.
Right.
And if you're producing content that people are listening to, that has value.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't feel like you're not there yet, that you don't deserve to be making money
I agree.
off of what you're doing.
I agree. This like weird, like, oh, you got to get 5,000 downloads. And then it's like, who came up with that? Like, where did this arbitrary rule come from, right? You know, like, I think that's the most exciting thing about podcasts is like you can elevate a whole community. So if you have a podcast about, you know, something very specific, you can find other people in that specific realm locally who need more visibility, and you can support each other, and nobody takes a cut. Everybody wins. Women elevating other women, or people elevating other people. Everybody wins. So I like the idea of like just understanding your value, you know, and knowing that your voice absolutely has value.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also women, and I hate to generalize women, obviously we're all humans, we're all individuals. I'm not trying to say that we're this like category like off on an island somewhere.
Right.
But I do think we've seen that women tend to do really well when we have these communities of support
For sure.
of other women.
For sure.
And that's also what we're trying to build at AH-sah, is a community of women who can exchange information and a safe place to ask questions and get real feedback from a community of people that you feel like have your back
Totally.
and want you to succeed as much as they want themselves to succeed.
It's so important. I've been in like a male-dominated industry for 20 years and like the only woman in the room for a long time. And then with Heartcast Media, it's like a complete shift. I'm aimed at businesses and brands, and a lot of my clients are women, and and it's like I had no idea how much I was missing that feminine energy until it's been in my life for the last year, and I just feel so supported and so loved, and holy crap, I just had no idea what I was missing. I really didn't.
Same.
And it's just so refreshing and awesome. You know, like I have this client, Monique Maley, that like when we talk, she like tells me she loves me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she started off as a client, and like we're friends, and I respect her so tremendously. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, what a great feeling. I always like hang up and like cry a little bit.
I know. I mean, really, I was a women's studies major like way before this whole movement took place.
Right.
And so like I was a feminist long before it was cool.
Right.
And I graduated and I was kind of like, where's my people? Like, how come no one knows about these issues? Like, how come no one cares? And like, it was a very lonely time for me.
Yeah.
I felt like the only voice that was like, things aren't equal. Wake up. Like,
Hey,
we
guys.
need movement.
Yeah.
And the past few years, as trying as they have been in certain ways,
Yes.
it also, I'm so inspired to see the rise
I agree.
of women supporting women and all of the incredible networks and programs and events that we have for women to support each other. I've seen such a shift. I always leave these events so inspired.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's been so great to see.
I agree. I think it's like you got to have the dark with the light, right? You know? And I think all the turmoil of the last few years has just made so many more people step up. We have more women in like positions of, you know, power and lawmakers, and it's just so important and really inspiring to see. It definitely helps get through some of those bad news cycle days, you know?
Exactly. And I think looking forward, I really see podcasting as a way to elevate women's voices on a global scale.
I agree.
I mean, we're just getting started. And how empowering it is to be able to share your voice on these major mainstream platforms. That's awesome.
It's so
There's
it really
so much we can
is.
do with this.
It is, and I really believe that listening is the real revolution, you know? Because we don't listen anymore, you know?
Yeah?
We just shitpost all over the internet and just, you know? And so I think, like, forcing people, maybe forcing is the wrong word, but like when you listen to a podcast, you don't have the opportunity to respond. You just have to listen, and then you can formulate your opinion, and then you can write a think piece, or sure, you could comment, but it's not the same. Like, you have to just listen. And I think if we can all just listen a little bit more, understand each other's perspective, like we'll realize, like, first of all, we're really not that different.
Right.
Different challenges, different resources, but like, you know, one love, one heart, one destiny, right? You know, and so the more you listen, the more you learn, the more you realize that, and then it feels easier to be on this planet. You feel like you're part of something, you feel like you're not alone, and that really, really matters, especially right now.
Right. I completely agree with you. And I think we also have the advantage now with podcasting as a platform. Your audience can reach you directly.
Right.
They can tweet you if they hear you say something that is not correct, or they want to have a conversation with a certain thing that you said.
Right.
And I think that gives people a lot of power. And I've heard plenty of podcasters address those comments directly and say, I was wrong, I used the wrong term, I spoke incorrectly. Like, that's really cool too, because, you know, when I was growing up, we had TV. You couldn't like get at people like
hey,
that
man.
you saw on TV. Like if someone said something that you're like, actually that's not true, you didn't have a way to really reach them or share your voice.
Right. It's important, and and you know, there always has to be room for growth, right? Like, especially now in this cancel culture, it's like, hey man, you know, a lot of people were saying really inappropriate things 10 years ago because that was the norm.
Right.
I mean, I look back at how I even described myself. It wasn't like all everyone else. It was even, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a different time, and we're learning daily, like, how to be better allies, how to not be jerks, right? Like, and it's changed so much. You know, the dialogue is open so much, and I think podcasting has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a little better, you know?
I definitely agree. I'm really excited to see where the podcast movement takes us. And I think, like you said, it's such an incredibly important time for people to be able to have a voice in a public way. It's empowering. It's great to see the rise of podcasting, and being at an event like this, you can feel the excitement. You can feel like, wow, this is happening.
This is cool. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's amazing. So tell people how they can find AH-sah and how they can support, and if they want to join, or, you know, give us all the rundown on that.
Will do. You can reach us at, if you want to apply, go to Join AH-sah, JOINOSSA. Spelling out loud is so weird. Like, I haven't done that since I was in a spelling bee. .com. Or you can find us at AH-sah, again, OSSA, collective.com. If you want to find us on social media, on Facebook, we are AH-sah Collective Network. And on Instagram, we are at AH-sah Collective.
Amazing. Well, it's been a really really a great honor to chat with you and meet you guys this morning. And we'll definitely stay connected, because I'm sure there's resources and things we can do. And, you know, if there's anything that Heartcast Media or Podcast Outfitters can do to elevate your voice and mission, like, please let me know. I'd be happy to do so.
Same to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, everybody. We will catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.